electrifying sport on the planet. Mixed martial arts. You've been looking for the definitive podcast to call your new home to hear everything about it. The search is over. This is the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. Bringing you the hottest MMA breakdowns straight from the heart of the octagon. This show is all about MMA breakdowns. For fans, by fans. We're talking UFC, MMA, and the occasional big boxing match. We'll bring our unique take on how these fights are going to play out and who we think are the best bets. Welcome to the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. And now your hosts, Olin, a.k.a. MMAnomaly, and Emiliano, a.k.a. Jive Turkey Nano.
What is up, fight fans? Welcome back to another episode of the MMAnomaly Show, No Filter. I'm your host, Olin, a.k.a. MMAnomaly, and with me, as always, is the co-host with the most, Jive Turkey Nano. How we doing, Nano?
Let's go. Great to see you, brother. We are back in action, man. I am doing good. Doing good. Trying to stay cool out here in this Arizona heat. Ready for the fall season to come upon us, man. And, man, a lot to recover, man. Recuperate. A lot to talk about, baby. It was a fun weekend. And I'm excited as all heck, man. Ready? Good to see you. Let's go.
Good to see you as well. A lot of stuff to talk about for damn sure when it comes to this past weekend's fight card. And I mean, dude, the fights were one thing. The bets were another. We won't talk about those probably. It was arguably my worst week in the betting books. Typically, I break even or win a little bit to cover the spread, or more than cover the spread for that matter. This was simply not the case on Saturday. I think I blew every single bet I placed, even my little private DraftKings against the lady. So even she took my money this weekend, folks. It happened. It happens to the best of us, though. It is what it is. But I digress. We out here, and we're going to break down UFC Vegas 97 from the top to the bottom, from the bottom to the top, as we like to do. So, with that being said, we'll go ahead and jump into the very bottom of the card. And that means talking about Nathan Fletcher versus Gigantas Ramaska. I was wrong about this one. I'm just going to come right on out and admit it. And thanks, Miss Mary 616, for saying it was easy to take my money. Appreciate it.
Ooh, like candy from a baby.
Candy from a baby. Hopefully that's not the case whenever we do our big MMA fantasy draft on Thursday. Looking forward to that. But I digress. Gigantas Ramaska against Nathan Fletcher. Nathan Fletcher went out there and looked like an absolute stud, looked like a man on a mission. 40 strikes landed at a 47 thrown. For those of you that are bad at math or just don't feel like whipping out the calculator or your smartphone calculator, that's an 85% clip. Okay, that is ridiculous. The accuracy was accuracying, as the kids would possibly say with their ridiculous lingo these days. Of the significant strikes, not much different either. 20 thrown, 14 landed. 70% accuracy. His opponent was pretty accurate too, right? 75% accuracy on total strikes thrown for Gigantas and 60% accuracy on his significant strikes. The difference is 40 compared to 12 total strikes landed and 14 compared to 6 on significant strikes landed. And of course, we know that it ended with a beautiful submission in round number 2, just a minute and 14 seconds in. Nano, what were your thoughts on the submission? What were your thoughts on the overall fight? And, what are your thoughts on Nathan Fletcher, man?
Yeah, man, Nathan Fletcher's somebody we got to keep our eye on for sure. He's a proper scouser fighting out of the camp with Patty Pimblett in the crew. So something I think we didn't necessarily touch on last week. But we should have, right? We should have saw that and maybe realized, hey, this guy might be not just a ground specialist, but he's a dog, okay? He's a junkyard dog, and he showcased that against a tough opponent, against a tough striker in Gigantas Ramaska. Again, we didn't necessarily know too much about either of these fighters, both making their debuts. Not a lot of UFC octagon experience, but man, was that a good outing by our boy Nathan Fletcher. He proved, like you mentioned there, with the strikes and the accuracy and just his well-rounded game that he displayed. Hey, we got one now, right? The Scousers are onto something. Another contender for sure. I don't necessarily have anyone that's top of mind in terms of what's next for Nathan Fletcher, but coming off the Dana White Contender Series, or I think the Ultimate Fighter, one of the two. I get them confused, but forgive me or roast me in the comments if you want. Let us know. Good to have you, and the comments help. So good, bad, anything in between. Let us know what you thought of the fights. If we're wrong, if we're talking crazy, all that good stuff. But yeah, man, Nathan Fletcher's someone we got to keep our eye on for sure. No one on the top of the mind, featherweight stacked, but why not get him on one of those international cards, or when Patty and Molly are fighting? Always a good way to try to get all hands on deck there and reward him for having a great performance here. Set the tone for the card, baby.
Absolutely set the tone for the card. Beautiful arm triangle pulled off by young Nathan Fletcher. Again, just like you, I don't have any names on the tip of my tongue necessarily for the young man, but it is what it is. It was a great fight. I was wrong. Happy we didn't bet a shot on that one, or else I'd be doing a shot pretty early in the show. Moving into the next one, we had Andre Petroski, the self-proclaimed best wrestler in the middleweight division, coming in against Dylan Budka, who was coming off of arguably one of the worst weight cuts I've ever seen in the UFC. He could hardly stand on the scale. He had to have someone come up to him and tap him on the shoulder to let him know it was time to step off the scale. He just wasn't all there after making weight. I personally think maybe the fight should have been stopped or not necessarily allowed to go through after seeing a weight cut that bad, but I digress. He rebulked pretty well, or rehydrated pretty well, did Dylan Budka, but it made no difference in the fight, right? 3 of 5 takedowns for Andre Petroski. If you were watching last week's episode, I told you the easiest bet to make on the entirety of this whole card was Andre Petroski over 2 takedowns. He landed 3. That hit. I was very confident that it would, and it did. So yeah, 3 of 5 takedowns, 60% clip, 23 of 46 significant strikes, 50% clip, 78 of 109 total strikes, 71.6% clip, compared to 23 strikes. So again, 23 compared to 78 and 17 to 23. So when Dylan was landing, he was landing hard, but he was also throwing everything into every shot, right? Like 59 total strikes thrown, 53 were considered significant strike attempts. But he only landed 23 total strikes and only 17 significant strikes. So just not enough. And that's why he ultimately lost a unanimous decision to Andre Petroski. Petroski looks like a real problem for the middleweight division, or at least anybody outside the top 10. Curious to hear your thoughts. Did anything impress you, or was it just another Andre Petroski fight?
Yeah, man, another guy representing Philly here, and another guy that had, his fellow companion fighting on the card. He represented well, man. Andre Petroski, what we thought he was going to go out there and do, he did it. He's a dog. He's resilient when it came to his wrestling game and just finding his openings and really just showing to be the stronger, more physical, and higher skilled or more technical grappler, and let's just say fighter overall, right? Because it's not just the grappling matches. It wasn't a wrestling match, although it's what it turned into at one point. But definitely when it came to striking as well, Andre's good, man. He puts it all together. Again, find that at Philly with Sean Brady and the boys. So they're cooking up something, man. Joe Piper as well. Blanking on the names. I'm like, yeah, they got a good crew, man. They got a good camp. And so iron sharpens iron, like we like to say around here as well. No surprises there, but what was surprising and unfortunately a little scary to see was our boy Dylan Budka simply not looking good on the scale. I did not see that interaction until after the fight. They were talking about it so much, I felt compelled to go see what it looked like because they really made that a narrative. And when you watch it, it is certainly concerning. I don't know if the UFC has maybe different protocols or anything where there's maybe additional testing you can do, or unfortunately maybe it's a competitive advantage. I know they got rid of the IVs, but if someone's looks like they may not be able to fight, I mean, why not try to help them out somehow? Maybe that's a topic for another day, or even just not to sidetrack from the point, but boy, he did not look good, and it did unfortunately showcase in the octagon a little bit. I do think he's a little green around the gills. He obviously needs to continue to develop his game. He was a collegiate wrestler, was planning to go to the Olympics, and then now is developing his UFC, his MMA game, excuse me. But Petrosky showed him that there's levels to just regular wrestling and then MMA wrestling, right? Mixed martial arts, all in all. And Dylan, I think the weight is a big deal. Let's maybe either reconsider the division, or if maybe this was just a fluky thing. Sometimes injuries happen, things of that nature, but tough watch. And he didn't get too beat up, really. I mean, I don't think he took a ton of damage. I think the total fight, although there were 78 total strikes amongst the 15 minutes, a lot of it was on top, kind of controlled, not necessarily a ton of heat thrown on the feet. Little rhyme there for you. But no, it was a good fight, man. And to your point, you kind of maybe insinuated it there at the end of your spiel is, hey, was that enough to show that Petrosky's maybe ready for a top 15 guy? Potentially, man. Definitely the name is there. I think the camp and the pedigree is starting to be there. I think obviously you always want to see more finishes, at least in the UFC, but when he's winning, that's typically what he's doing. Obviously, he had his skid, but now he's trending the right direction. There is a name that I'm looking on Tapology. Shout out for having the rankings there, but there's a dance partner that I would like to see challenged by another grappler, but it's a good name and would just be a fun fight, man. I don't know if you want to hear it or if you have a name first. I'm happy to give you the floor as
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Here. I'm thinking Roman Kopylov, my brother. Fought this past June, excuse me, so a few months ago, coming off of a split decision win. I mean, he's ranked 26. Now I'm like stretching here. Andre Petrosky's ranked 31st on Tapology. I'm leaving it to the pros. That's a good jump up in competition. Both coming off wins. Both foreign, so it could be international, right? Doesn't have to be in the States, or it can, obviously. But you can do a lot with that from a matchmaker's perspective. So I think I'd be lining that up. I might be calling my boy Roman his cell, see what he's up to later this year or maybe early next year. What do you think, brother? What are your thoughts there? And do you have any other names top of mind?
So I'll be honest, I actually love that name. I think that's a perfect name for him to fight. I'm just kind of scrolling through Marcel Dorf. Shout out Marcel Dorf at Big Marcel24 on Twitter. He does probably the best job of anybody online posting updated fights and fight announcements. I want to say there was one that maybe hasn't been pinned, but is a verbal agreed fight for Roman Kopylov right now. But I'm not 100% sure on it. I was just skimming his page trying to find that. But yeah, if he doesn't have anything scheduled, I think it's a fantastic fight. I think that'd be a fantastic fight. And I also just think it'd be a hell of a test for Andre Petrosky.
It looks like Roman Kopylov was supposed to fight about a month ago, Vegas 96 against Bruno Fajeda. So maybe something happened, right? Maybe hopefully it's not an injury thing. Perhaps that can be the chink in the armor of this potential fight panning out. But you never know. I'm sure he's itching to get back in there. This was a little while ago. May not have been able to be fight ready that week, but maybe a little bit postponed. Maybe they could find a date again. Maybe early 2025 if that need be.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on board with that. I don't have another name on the tip of my tongue, so I'm just going to ride your coattails on that one. And moving into the next fight, we have some serious business to discuss here. We got Jacqueline Amarim, aka Jackie, coming in against the little monster, Vanessa Demopoulos. Oh, buddy. I'm going to let you take the lead on this one. I have thoughts.
Yeah, there's a lot to take in on this fight. A lot of controversy. What's up, Ike Arena? Great to see you there in the chat. Let us know if you're here as well. Let us know your thoughts. Maybe a good emoji, maybe a couple cents here. 1 word, 2 word, as many as you want. Fill up the box. But curious to hear because this was an interesting one, right? And what I'm talking about, ladies and gents, is Jacqueline Amarim and her submission win. Amron Burgundy over Vanessa Demopoulos. There is a reason why I throw that in there. Maybe an asterisk. We'll have to wait and see if the commission has anything to say about it. But like I said, she went in there. She got the job done. It was quick work in the sense of Jacqueline getting Vanessa down. Not a lot of strikes exchanged. Not too much I can really take away there. I mean, Jacqueline's the younger, more explosive. Maybe I don't want to say hungrier. It's maybe being a little too forward there, but certainly the aggressor that it looked early on got Vanessa down, and maybe a little too aggressive. She seemed to have been grabbing the wrist and or glove. It was a little hard for myself to tell. Again, I'm not a judge, and bear with us here as we give you our punditry, we give you our sentiments about it, but certainly don't take it as holy gospel. And it's tough, right? We are not in there. I think my thing is I would probably default to the fighters, what's going on in the cage, and then obviously the last layer there is the ref themselves. I trust what he sees. He didn't see it, or he saw it a certain way. I'm not pro enough to make any other concession, so I have to go with what he's seen or did not see, because that human error can happen. We saw some of the replays. It looked like it could have been in there. I'm curious to hear your thoughts, because I don't know the exact rules or where the rule lies in the sense of grabbing inside or the wrist, or where were her nails, where was the positioning. Obviously, you hear the declaration from the opponent, but again, I'm glad Dom kind of said it when it needed to be said, was, hey, that all that needs to be acknowledged. However, you still got to defend. You can't turn your back. This isn't another sport where you call timeout, you throw out the challenge flag. It's like, no, you have to defend yourself. I don't care what happened. She could have done something even more illegal or blatant or not blatant, but you can make your declaration either there on the spot like you do, definitely during the maybe in between rounds, or you have your coach express it. But what you don't do is you don't let your guard down, right? You don't get emotional, and you don't throw your hands up. Well, not figuratively, throw your hands up like, oh, what the heck? This is stupid. I'm over that. She's cheating. It's over. What, she loses. It's like, hold on, you got to defend yourself at all times.
You don't want to abandon guard and abandon defensive mechanisms in order to proclaim that somebody's cheating.
Yeah, you make your declaration, and who knows? Maybe it was already still the beginning of the end. I mean, it's hard for me to talk through what she could have been doing otherwise, right? Like, I guess she's making the verbal declaration. It's not like she literally just went limp and was like, "Oh, you got me." It's like she was obviously still defending or letting him know what was going on, and even that little quick, I guess, lapse or just let's say deviation from the grappling exchange was maybe where Jacqueline was able to go in there and say, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and find a choke here. Boom, boom. Or, yeah, boom, here we go. Here's an arm. Thank you.
Arm bar.
So, arm bar. But yeah, brother, curious to hear your thoughts. I think all in all, again, my final, what I was trying to say was that, hey, you got to defend yourself. You got to, I defaulted to what the ref saw. I didn't see anything blatantly illegal. Even if you see it, it's like, hey, you got to keep fighting. You got to keep fighting. I'll address it with her, but you got to keep fighting. I didn't see anything blatant, and that's just the way it is. But here's your thoughts, brother. I know you got a lot. I saw that deep breath there, so lay it on us, man. No, it's no filter now, so we want to raw.
So look, I'm going to be honest with you, man. I appreciate the breakdown, and this is exactly why we call it no filter, right? Like, we don't rehearse anything. We don't share notes. We have our own docs for that reason, and I'll just read what I wrote down first, and then I'll go over my actual thoughts in the moment. So what I wrote down while watching the fight is this fight, or I wrote this down like probably 10, 15 seconds right after the fight wrapped up. So this fight is one that had the exact same number of significant strikes landed by both women. However, an early round one finish for MRM is exactly what she needed to boost her UFC career. The only issue here is that she blatantly cheated to obtain said finish. She not only grabbed the inside of the glove, which is illegal by UFC rule set, but she did it repeatedly in order to secure the finish. And that cheating is exactly what led to the armbar submission. Now, I had PTSD flashbacks to Dustin Poirier versus Charles Oliveira, a fight that he was dominating, and then he knocked down Charles Oliveira, and Charles grabbed the inside seams of his gloves, much like I'm grabbing my watch, right? So you can see, if you're watching the video version of this, if I grab my watch and pull, there's no way, if somebody else is pulling me by my watch, that I can pull down unless I rip my watch off, right? I can do that with my watch because it's a fucking wash, right? Like, it's probably easy to rip this band off if I really needed to. UFC gloves plus the tape that goes around, you're not going to rip that off. And if you do, it's going to be a severe delay of the fight, etc. There's just reasons you're not going to rip that off. And it's also damn near impossible when you're in a fight to do that because of the amount of tape, because of the amount of securing that's around those gloves to make sure they don't come off. So if someone is effectively grabbing onto the seams or the insides of your glove with their fingers going in and penetrating your gloves, 100% illegal. You cannot do that. The same way you cannot grab shorts, the same way you cannot soccer kick someone to the head if they're grounded, the same way you can't knee the head of a grounded opponent. Those are illegals. Those are cause for, at the very least, a point deduction. And realistically, it should be a DQ if it's something that ends the fight the way that this one did, the way that the Charles Oliveira one did. So, I mean, for me, I think it was a blatant cause for a DQ. If I am Vanessa Demopoulos, look, I'm going to the Las Vegas Athletic Commission or the NSAC, the Nevada State Athletic Commission, and I'm pushing a case and I'm appealing this fight to get it overturned to a no contest or a DQ. Because Eminem did cheat. They showed it on the freaking teleprompter, and she's like, "No, I didn't know." And then they showed it at the post-fight presser. They asked her again, and she's like, "No, I didn't grab the inside of her glove." I mean, you got caught in 4K, right? It is what it is. As you said, no filter. I saw somebody cheating. I saw somebody that won. I also saw somebody that is, again, very young. We got to remember, folks, Jacqueline Eminem is still a child in the grand scheme of things. She is 29 years old. And in this sport, she is extremely young. What I mean by that is she doesn't have a whole hell of a lot of fights, right? She has 10 professional mixed martial arts fights to her name. So that being said, even if it's your first day working at McDonald's, working the drive-thru, you show up to work with pants on, right? Because you know that's one of the big rules. So you probably shouldn't grab the inseam of a glove because as I said about pants, that's one of the big rules of kind of your fucking job. So not going to play matchmaker for Jackie. Not super impressed with the win. She landed 2 significant strikes. So did her opponent. Honestly, I think they should book a rematch, if anything. You have a name on the tip of your tongue for young Jackie?
I mean, there could definitely be a lot of heat, especially if that ends up being a no contest, maybe. Or I guess I'd be curious if never seen a lot of DQs, or if it's still
if they overturn it, I think you're right. It'd probably be a no contest.
Right, where it's just nullified, if no one's necessarily penalized. But yeah, and I guess it's just my question. It's kind of it's the whole severity, right, in terms of rule breaking and then punishments. It's not as black and white as other sports. I mean, we're in football season, but in a lot of other things, if you do a certain thing, it's whether it's a fine or hey, you're ejected from a game, you do something blatant or whatever the case. Something like this, I think partially responsibility is on the ref for not catching it. They're grappling, they're rolling around. It happened. I wish I got to rewatch the sequence again. But even though, I mean, I'm not a specialist, so it's not like I'm sitting here oh, well, it actually, to your point, it probably did end up. It was the beginning of the end. That was along the road somewhere there. I'm curious, what would be the protocol if the ref did catch it, right? If referee Jacob Montalvo saw that in the moment, would he then stop the fight? I don't know. I guess
so. It depends. I can respond to this. So if somebody grabs the inseam of the gloves, right? If for example, if it's in the Dustin Poirier fight where Dustin is hovering over him basically in just not even a full mount, but just in a standing position, hovering over him. And then Charles grabs the inseam of the gloves and won't let him stand back up. So he's efficiently using it to change position or to gain advantageous position. If a ref notices that, protocol is to take that position away from that fighter and reset the fighters in a standing position. If the fighter is pulling for an armbar and they see that fighter has pulled into an armbar, they are supposed to yell time or freeze. and then essentially remove the fingers from the gloves and reset the fighters in that position, in that grounded position. If they use it to advance position while already on the ground, same thing as the Poirier situation. So like if I'm in full mount on you and you now use it to transition and pull me into like a side control kind of, not necessarily a dominant position for you, but now you're working into an arm bar or a triangle choke, right? Well, now they have right to take that away from you because you used the inseam of my glove to cheat to get into that position. Same thing with like if I'm trying to take you down and I grip your shorts and I'm fucking pulling your shorts in. If I secure the takedown solely because I grabbed your shorts, they should lift us up and reset that position to a standing. And if I do it again, they should reset position to standing and take a point from me.
Right. Whether you get warned or not, it's like, hey, I guess you typically are. That's that first one.
And that's the first thing. Like if you're standing up, like then that's like a slap on the wrist. You're like, hey, you did something wrong, kid. That's why they're standing you up. So if you do it again, like shame on you. And Jackie, with all due respect, she grabbed the glove like 2-3 times in that one sequence.
Yeah, see, that's where I guess I got to rewatch it again because I'm looking at the still image of it just to at least confirm. Because like I said, I wasn't fully sure like where's the glove gripping. They're wearing leather gloves. There's tape. Things get stuck. It was the first minute of the fight. They're dry, but you could kind of see like, and I guess they are made to kind of curl a little bit as well. But you could see her fingertips, which are the only things that are exposed, are essentially like in the blue lining of the taped glove on her opponent's wrist, which is obviously indicating it is underneath it. But yeah, all to say, it's a good point, brother. I think I'm maybe just even to your point, just less harsh on what maybe the punishment could be, right? Whether it's DQ or no contest, or again, I think a lot of blame on Jacqueline as a fighter, but man, if the ref's missing that's unfortunate, right? That's his role as well. Vanessa has every right probably to be mad at him too there. Which again, maybe you could look at it to favor that into a no contest. If not, it's unfortunate for Vanessa, right? I think it's just it's a for her it's like it's an asterisk. Not that she looks any worse. It does help Jacqueline, but unfortunately, like you said, her doubling down on those comments or just not maybe being upfront. It's like, hey, you know what, you're right. I might have whatever, But hey, she's a great fighter, and you know what? I'll fight her again, whatever, right? Like, there's a way to maybe be sincere about it and acknowledge, hey, But she didn't, and maybe now that's kind of pissing off even more people, right? It's like you can't win, right? It's a lose-lose at this point, unfortunately, for Jacqueline. Like I said, she's a young girl. I'm still a fan. I'm still rooting for her. Again, I'm not gonna totally hold it against her. I think, especially as someone that doesn't grapple a lot, I can only imagine like how things happen quickly and in transition. Whether it, and hopefully, and my thing is, if I'm Vanessa, it's like hopefully you would have been able to get out of the round, survive. Maybe that could have led to a point deduction, right? If they review the film, or if I don't know, it's tough to obviously hindsight's always 20/20. And I wish there could have been a middle ground. Again, I'm trying to be the peacemaker here, but yeah, brother, I think controversial, man. It was tough. You feel for both ladies because now it's like the win's kind of blemished, the loss is blemished. It still might end up being a no contest, which now that we've talked through it for a little bit longer here, might end up being the right path. But all to say, hey, if they run it back, I'm gonna watch both of them. It adds to the whole allure. So let's see what happens next.
Absolutely. I think now's probably a better time than ever to do a shot for someone that we met. The fallen warrior. Man, Vanessa Demopoulos.
Let's go.
You hate to see it. We're going to do a couple of these throughout the show. There were some sad moments on this one, folks. That's for sure. There were some very happy moments, but man, there were some sad ones. Looking at you, main card. Looking at you. So, cheers to one of the people that has like the best energy I've ever seen in my entire life, Vanessa Demopoulos. Hope you get that fight overturned. You didn't deserve that L.
Cheers to that. To green to passions.
As you can see, making a lot more of a face here than I usually do. Tequila is not usually the number one choice, but it's UFC Noche week, so it felt like it was a must. We're doing tequila this week, folks.
Gee whiz. I love it.
Let's go, Jake. Salud, baby.
Salud.
We'll be doing shots together in person for UFC Noche very soon, my friend.
Let's go, baby.
Looking forward to it.
I'm also drinking because of our Raiders loss, man. That was a tough one. Haven't been able to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it. Man, the Raiders lost, and then a bunch of fans lost in the parking lot. It looked like it.
Oh my god, I know. Did
you see the video of the Raiders fan swinging at the Chargers fan? The Chargers fan just get him in a guillotine, standing kneeling. Did you see that Dustin Poirier quote retweeted it?
Dude, I did not see that. That's hilarious.
Dustin Poirier quote retweeted it and said, "This guy looks like someone who knows somebody in the Gilly gang."
knows a guy. Part of the guy.
This dude knows somebody who knows somebody that knows somebody that knows something about the Gilly gang.
That's hilarious. And that dude's grinning and all. I can't believe it.
He literally dodged a couple punches and said, "Come on." And then just guillotined him. He's like, nothing.
Soft. That's it.
That's so funny. Man. The worst thing about it is I saw somebody posted a master clip of it where it's literally it goes through the same clip on 4 different camera angles. So someone got it from the fucking nosebleeds with the overhead angle, like UFC style. It's hilarious, bro.
I'm sure there were a lot of cameras out for that one.
Oh, yeah.
How do you miss that one?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure there's a lot of fights. Honestly, I'm sure there's probably even more that'll surface up. Probably that we're not recorded because it's how we roll, baby. So it's Raider Nation, baby. It's how we do it. Come on, dogs bark in the backyard, baby. Come on.
Dogs bark in the backyard, baby. You already know what it is.
Let's go, baby.
Hey. Oh man.
We lose, we taking a limb with us.
You know what I'm saying? Raider Nation. Oh boy. We don't condone violence on this podcast.
No, we don't.
Unless it's inside the octagon and it's professionally relegated.
That we condone. That we do.
That we condone. We call that skilled violence.
Sanctioned.
So, sanctioned violence, folks. Moving into the next sanctioned bout that we had a featherweight bout between Yiza and Gabriel Santos. Oh man, this was a solid little banger of a fight, wasn't it? Nano, what are your thoughts on this one?
Brother, this was a banger, man. This was a banger. These are two guys, and I might have to pour a little bit of a shot out because of I was leaning my boy Yiza, okay? Because he not only because of the share, the one name, like Shaq, just one name. That's Madonna. Cool in itself. Madonna. It's like you want to root for that person. Obama. But yeah, it's like, hey, man, coming out. That's who I was leaning. He was the underdog. But no. Gabriel Santos is like, yo, I'm the favorite for a reason. He looked absolutely fantastic out there. Looked strong. The leg kicks were landing early and often. And he would have hurt our boy Yiza. But, man, got to give my boy props. I thought this could have even been fight of the night. Or even worth a 50K bonus if, maybe if it was a pay-per-view, maybe they could have gotten the nod there because they really left it all out there, man. I mean, he is a bit down on that mouthpiece, took everything Gabriel Santos was throwing at him. He looked swaggy out there. He looked violent. It was a good outing by him, but again, a tough, big heart performance by Yiza as well. So trying to give them both their flowers. But when you look at it, I mean, in terms of the strikes, everything, man, it was pretty even. Gabriel just landed home a little bit more, landed home a little bit harder. And again, he had some moxie in there. He really caught my eye and just how strong he looked, how he was, kind of calling him on. Yiza was too. Again, a lot about this fight, y'all. I mean, if you have some downtime, this is a fun one to just go throw on. Or if you happen to catch it, you got your money's worth because it was no downtime. There was nothing boring about it. They would get hit. They'd smile. They'd tell them, bring it on. I want some more. It had a little bit of everything you'd want to see when it comes to the strike and pedigree there. So those are my 2 cents, man. I feel like, we got off course a little bit. I'll get back on. I'll keep it short and sweet. But curious to hear your thoughts. I don't have any opponent for Gabriel Santos, although I do want to see him get back in there as soon as possible. Another featherweight with a lot of promise. Throw them all in a pot, and whoever's healthy and answers the phone, I say run it. Love to see these guys get back in if healthy. But it's a great performance by Gabriel Santos. What do you think, brother?
Yeah, man, I'm with you. I thought Yuzal was going to get it done too. I think we were actually both riding that guy a little bit. So I'm with you, man. I'll ride that train with you. Maybe pour a little halfer. Dude, I thought this could have been fight of the night also. I mean, look, between the two guys here in a 15-minute bout, we're talking about over 200 strikes landed. Come the fuck on, kid. And when you're talking about the strikes thrown, we're talking about over 300. Okay? That's volume, bro. Like, these guys were fucking throwing. They each threw over 150 strikes. They're averaging over 10 strikes per minute. Come on. What else do you want, Uncle Dana? Give him like a 25er or something, bro. Like, give him a half a performance of the night bonus or fight of the night bonus each. Like, give him some kind of kickback because these guys put it all out there. And I mean, with all due respect, and I am saying with all due respect, Gabriel Santos, he went out there and he did exactly what he needed to do to get the win. After round one being as back and forth as it was, in my opinion, he literally adjusted exactly as he needed to and started really going for the takedowns. Now, the crazy thing is he got 2 minutes and 23 seconds of control time in round number 2 and really turned the tides of the bout in a big way, right? Like, he outlanded his opponent both on total strikes and significant strikes, and he established dominance for over half a round in top position. Now, looking at round 3, if you look at it on paper, you're like, oh man, it's a weird round. It's kind of a weird round to look at, right? Because on the one side, you got a guy that had 4 minutes and 1 second of control time in a 5-minute round. Pretty fucking wild, right? Like, that seems like dominance. On the other side, his opponent landed 50 strikes to 32. He was only on his feet for 59 seconds, and he landed 50 strikes. He outlanded his opponent by 20 strikes, and he was under him for 4 minutes of a 5-minute fucking round. Make it make sense, kid.
That's a hungry dog right there. That is a hungry dog. That's what I'm hearing.
I was vastly impressed with the volume that he was able to put out while he was on his feet. Like, if this fight didn't have the wrestling that it had from Gabriel Santos, I think maybe we'd be looking at a different outcome. I don't know.
Oh yeah. No, that was smart of him. I mean, he
adapted well.
Fighting someone. Yeah. I mean, he was fighting against someone that adapted even better, like Wolverine status. Dude was built different out there, my brother. So it was, very well timed. I mean, everything about it. And that's where it's just, again, he showcased his skills. He's just a little bit better. Maybe not as durable, maybe not as big of a heart, right? Not as competitive when it comes to what Yiza displayed, but the skills were there. It was obvious from the jump. And those leg kicks, I mean, everything he was doing, setting them up. I think, did he hit him with a knee at one point?
Too.
I mean,
the body work was nice too.
Yeah. Did he teep kick him? Am I mixing
up
fights? He hit him with
a really nice teep kick, yeah.
Teeped him right in the face. Dude. Jesus, I give you props, my brother. You walked through everything. Done. I mean, most people on Earth are. Yeah. Even if they don't get knocked out cold, they're like, oh, my face is off. I'm good. Yeah. I'd be like, I'm done. Yo, you got me. You win.
The worst I've ever been dropped, I will say, like, it didn't come close to knocking me out or anything like that, but it took me off my feet because of the way the momentum worked. Like, I was coming in with a jab and I was in switch stance, so I was southpaw, coming in with a right jab, and as I was pumping forward, literally shuffle stepping, dude took a step back, and not a teep kick, but he like stepping side kicked me in the face, and I literally just went whoosh. My feet kept going forward, my head went the opposite way, and I landed flat on my ass and my back. And I just looked up at the guy and he's like, oh shit, are you good? And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Like, it didn't hurt, but that was wild. Like, it just took me off my fucking feet. He just sat me down like a little child.
You're like, oh jeez, like Flash.
It was wild, bro. It was wild.
Oh,
like having forward momentum and then just someone shutting that momentum back. You're like,
ew.
Inertia's a son of a bitch, huh?
Oh, dude, yeah. Even just the thought of getting that on the chin like that's crazy. So these guys are dogs.
I don't know that I could still take it like that.
No, I don't think I personally ever could, man. That's tough. It's one thing to be given the shots, but when you're taking them like that, that's a whole other ballgame.
Eating them on the chin like that is tough. And honestly, the body shots he was eating are even worse, man.
Yeah, I was thinking the only time I've ever been relatively like chin checked like that, where I was like concerned about my mouth, was during a football game. You know, luckily you have your chin strap, whatever, but didn't have my mouthpiece in, like it was out, it was, mid play, whatever. But just that like quick thing, your mouth's open and you kind of
Bite
clamp
your
up.
fucking
I mean,
tongue off like that.
I would have if I would have been playing like Michael Jordan out there. I would have been no tongueless, no jive turkey on the pod here. I would have been mumbling, but yeah, man, no, it was. But no, even that, I was like, dude, I think I broke my teeth. Like, oh my god, and it was just like someone running.
Every time somebody
2 feet
loses
off the
their
ground.
mouthpiece in the UFC, I'm like, oh god, stop the fight, give him his mouthpiece, please.
Yeah, don't even risk it. Don't even risk it. An elbow, any of that. You don't want no part of it.
I remember seeing Michael Bisping lose his mouthpiece, pointing at the ground saying, my mouthpiece, and then Anderson Silva getting a 4-step run and doing a flying knee to the fucking chin to end the round. And then it knocked Bisping out. And then Bisping came back out after the bell and won the fight.
Of course you did.
Shout out Michael Bisping, dude.
Of course you did.
One eye, no teeth, no problem. Michael Bisping. That's gonna be
Legend.
our next merch. One eye, no mouthpiece, no problem.
No probs.
The count.
No worries.
All right, man. Moving into the next fight, I have to go over this fight. Yiza. I was on him as well. I did go over the fight a little bit. I thought he did really well. I thought Gabriel Santos adapted extremely well with the takedowns and the grappling overall, and just switching to grounded strikes. Just did a really great job. Not a single submission attempt was seen in this fight, and there was no need for it. Yiza could definitely afford to work on his grappling negation skills as well as his overall takedown skills of his own. He failed on all 4 of his takedown attempts, which is a sad sight to see, but I digress. Great win for up-and-comer Gabriel Santos. Featherweight is stacked. I don't have a name on the tip of my tongue. He's not ready for the top 15 quite yet. Keep feeding him those feeder fighters from the top, 30 to 40 range in the UFC that are just now entering as well. And maybe after 2 to 3 more fights, he'll have a name for himself in the top 15. Moving into the next fight, we had Felipe Dos Santos coming in against Andre Lima. Similar looks on paper here. 0-8 on the takedowns for Felipe Dos Santos, 2 for 2 on the takedowns for his opponent, though. You love to see it. It was not really one-way traffic, right? But it kind of felt like one-way traffic at times. Mostly in rounds 2 and 3 when Andre Lima racked up over 8 minutes of control time across this fight. And also outlanded his opponent on, total strikes at least. Even though Felipe Dos Santos, again, with just 43 seconds of time on his feet, 53 seconds of time on his feet, was able to outland significant strikes of his opponent. So, great job for Andre Lima when it comes to actually landing the strikes on the feet. But again, you got to work on your takedowns, man. Going 0 for 8 on your own takedowns while letting your opponent go 100%. I will say, though, Andre Lima did not waste any effort or energy with his takedown attempts. They were perfectly timed. The way he worked them in was just super slick. Best way to describe them would be easy picks, man. They were easy picks. Nano, what were your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, another fun one, my brother. Appreciate the breakdown. I'll just kind of add little complimentary pieces around it. And yeah, Andre Lima is all of the truth that everyone thinks he is. He was a favorite coming in. I liked what I was seeing from Felipe Dos Santos and his quick outing or a short notice outing against a Manel Kopp. Took him the distance, looked competitive. Last fight looked competitive. Dude has all the makings to be really good. Just has to put it together. I think he really showcased his ability to weather the storm. Didn't get choked out. He was taken down, controlled, almost had the rear naked choke, but he weathered the freaking storm, man. Dude has a lot of heart. I think the kid's super talented. I was hoping maybe to see almost a Herculean type performance from him to beat a talented and trend and up and coming Andre Lima, but he just wasn't able to get it done. Felipe Dos Santos wasn't his night. It was Andre Lima's night, and he's someone that we probably need to start watching a little bit more closely. And I say you probably know more about him personally, but I need to start keeping tabs on this guy because he's legit. Okay, I was a little focused on Chute Box and the platinum blonde hair there. Please forgive me. Got to keep my eyes on this other kid, man, because he showed all the skills, showed a lot of patience. I knew he was going to have that boxing pedigree, but also has that Muay Thai kickboxing kind of vibe as well. Just well-rounded, and he beat a talented, hungry fighter in Felipe Dos Santos. And like you said, he did it pretty handily for the most part. Weathered the storm, but did what he had to do to win on the scorecards. for the most part, like pretty definitively, I'd say. Even though, yeah, Felipe looked good at moments. He did have, I think, a spinning back fist that landed that I thought was gonna maybe show more dividends, or was gonna maybe show that Andre was human. But no, that was his night. He wasn't gonna lose. So I give him props, and I don't necessarily have anyone that's top of mind. I'm looking at some of the peeps now, and it's interesting, man. I mean, there's a short list. They have him ranked 26th according to Tapology overall. So it's like, hey, who's not to say he's not potentially fighting for a top 15 if all the stars align? I mean, I was looking right now, and a lot of people have dance partners, so I'm not just going to call out random names because a lot of them are already taken, and that's a lot of it is being at the right place at the right time. So maybe that's what we're looking at here with our boy. Otherwise, I'm actually looking something about these Russian opponents, man. I keep seeing them on here. I'm like, oh, there might be another Russian we might be able to line them up with. But before I go into mine, curious to hear your thoughts, brother. Anyone that's sticking out to you?
I do have a name on the tip of my tongue. As you said, great breakdown as well. Nice job sprinkling a little extra on the top there. Most of these guys are already matched up, right? Most of the people that it makes sense for him to actually end up fighting. I don't know that he's ready for the top 15, but let's take a shot in the dark and say that he is. Maybe give him the loser of the Asu Almabayev versus Mateos Nicolau fight. Mateos is number 10. Obviously, that's a little bit too high for the threshold of my liking, but he's fighting number 15, Asu Almabayev. I'm assuming Nicolau is probably going to win that fight, and if he does, that's just going to drop Asu either back down to 15 where he's already at, or maybe down to 16 or 17, which again, I think lines up the trajectory perfectly for our winner here, Andre Lima. Yeah, I don't know if you had any other names on the tip of your tongue. Other than that, only other name for me that really comes to mind is Charles Energy Johnson. But again, he's matched up against Sumadarji as well, so it'd have to be like the loser of that matchup.
Yeah. And there's another guy that's right on that cusp of top 15. I mean, he is ranked. Unfortunately, he fought this card as well. We may be having to talk about him, but it's like I don't necessarily want to throw him up against a Matty Chanel. That's a horrible matchup.
Well, Matt retired.
Oh, did he retire?
He put his gloves on. He left his gloves in the octagon and didn't ask for an interview. Just walked out.
Oh, shoot. Okay, I didn't see that. Oh, shoot.
Yeah, ESPN posted it later on.
Gotcha. Well, I guess honestly, I'm glad to see that. And granted, I guess maybe I got to give the UFC some grace. It's Tuesday. They probably didn't update the rankings yet. I believe that's maybe tonight or tomorrow. So forgive me. So I guess that will be updated. So I'm curious to see who they put up in the top 15 now. But yeah, man, I mean, he deserves to be in that conversation, right? And Energy, like you said, he's scheduled for about Azu, Mateus. I mean, maybe if you're Lima here, maybe you just throw your name in the hat, be ready, right? If there's an injury or something comes up, these things happen. Maybe you get right back in there and you really strike while the iron's hot. So I'd love to see that. But yeah, I don't think I have anyone else top of mind just due to how crowded things are. Schnelli just retired. A lot of movement. I think we got to wait and see how the dust settles, but love to see him get back in as soon as possible.
Oh yeah. Same. Yeah, there's a lot of conjunction in the flyweight division right now. So, moving into the next one, man, we had Isaac Dulgarian coming in against Brendan Marotte. Isaac Dulgarian, of course, coming in as the largest UFC favorite in betting history at minus 3,100 on the odds closing. Fucking wild. But I will say he also looked like the largest favorite in UFC history. He went out there and absolutely dominated this fight. I'll be honest, man. I like Isaac Dulgarian. I bet on Isaac Dulgarian. He was on a couple of my little parlays. But here's the thing. His opponent walked out to one of the main songs from the movie Never Back Down Part 2. So I started rooting for him during his walkout. I even recorded it and sent a clip to Jalen. I was like, bro, check this out. Stardust, just such a good song. Such a good song. But I digress. No matter how good your walkout music is, if you're going against the largest favorite in UFC history, you probably got your fucking work cut out for you, kid. And he did. He had his work cut out for him. It was 22 total strikes landed to 102. And significant strikes, the story only gets worse. It was 41-3. And again, takedowns. Magic number of takedowns, if you want to be a winner of this card, is how many, Nano?
It's like two for you and 2 for me, baby.
2 for you, 2 for me. It's 2 for Tuesdays. Man, I feel like everybody who got 2 takedowns on this fight card won their fight. Isaac Dolkarian, no different. He got the submission in round number 2, 4 minutes and 19 whole seconds into that round. A little nice arm triangle choke, made it look fairly easy over Brendan Marotte. I hope Brendan Marotte gets a second chance here in the UFC. He took this fight, I believe, on short notice. I could be wrong about that, but I digress. Pretty one-way traffic, or as close to one-way traffic as it gets in the UFC octagon. This felt like a Bellator prelim matchmaking fight, if I'm being honest. It's kind of a mismatch, man. What were your thoughts here?
I love that, brother. I was trying to, it's like online you see the common trend of, not make it make sense, but like put it in layman's terms, put it in football terms, put it in basketball terms, And for you boys and gals, that maybe you're trying to wrap your head around Isaac Dolgarian being the highest betting favorite in UFC betting history and going out there, what we saw, it's essentially, let's see. For you college football fans, it's like your state school or university school facing off against a junior college school. Okay. Yeah. It's like the starting basketball team facing off against the G League basketball team. Okay. Yeah. It'd be like the starting lineup in baseball going up against a single A opponent. Not double A, not triple A. Single. Just 1A. The Oz. It's tough, right? I mean, it's shouldn't have happened. Don't know how it happened.
Like
Shouldn't
Michael
happen again.
Jordan playing a game of one-on-one against Kevin Hart.
Just it's completely lopsided. Makes no sense. Why is it even happening? It begs a question. But no, I mean, hey, this guy, Brendan Marotte, he's a pro, but unfortunately, Isaac Dolgarian is a true pro, and there's levels, right? There's levels to it. He went out there and took care of business, looked all a bit as good as he is. I guess the only chink in the armor is why not get it done the first? He must be a wussy or something. No, I'm just kidding. No, that was a good outing. It's a stacked division again. I don't have anyone. I think he frankly needs to go fight anybody that's just of higher caliber. Literally throw out anybody on the roster. Give him someone in the contender series. I don't even care at this point, Dana. Just give him somebody. Anybody else is better than Mr. Marotte, unfortunately. That's just, we'll set the bar there, but now it's got to be definitely up. That's my only criteria.
Love it. Absolutely love it, man. Yeah, Isaac Dolgarian looked absolutely fantastic out there. I don't have a name on the tip of my tongue for him, but I do want somebody that's higher caliber. I do want somebody that's going to give him a push and make him work for his money. Make him work for that second half of that paycheck and tell us if he's all that they say he is, right? Is there a reason for him to be the heaviest favorite on a UFC card of all time? That still, we still have to find out. But moving into the next one that I was very excited about and very wrong about. I was riding the wrong Jew train. I should have been talking about Taco Tuesdays instead, though, because Chris Padilla, the taco man himself, he came out there and goddamn, taco. Looked like them at the door out there. You know what I'm saying? The next time I try to bet against Taco, Chris Padilla, please just hit the sound clip.
Come on, don't be crazy.
Okay, because that's obviously what's going on if I'm betting against this kid. Okay, I'm being crazy. I mean, he looked incredible out there. Let me just go ahead and read my notes that I typed directly following the fight, or even during the fight. Chris Padilla looks incredible in this fight, showcasing the swagger and power unlike any he's shown before, in my opinion. He made it look like Rong Ju didn't belong in the octagon with him on Saturday. The swagger in the footwork, landing shots, and subtly sliding out of range of return shots. I mean, it was absolutely stunning to witness. Aside from a few barrages where Rong Ju rushed in and landed at volume, this was the taco show on Saturday night. Beautiful slicing elbow across the left of Rong Ju, hit so hard he believes it was an eye poke, instantly trying to stop and declare it was an eye poke. But I digress. It was a fucking elbow. But, it just cracked into that freaking eyeball like a crushing taco shell. Did Chris Padilla's elbow there. And that's all she wrote. And then a doctor steps in and stops the fight. Thank goodness. Probably one of the best doctor stoppages I've ever seen. Because that eye instantly swole shut. When he was talking about continuing, I was like,
come on, don't be crazy.
Nano, what were your thoughts on the taco show here?
Oh man, love it. It was crazy. That eye was crazy. It looked like a taco the way it was folded up, and couldn't see through it anymore. My goodness. Yeah, man, it was a great fight. Great fight for as long as it lasted. Like you mentioned, Chris Padilla, aka Taco, was slicing and dicing out there, man. The way he was choosing his strikes, the way he threw that elbow down, perfect angle, perfect location, right with the tip of the elbow. Everything about it was beautiful. That first round was back and forth, nothing but action. You love to see it. But yeah, that second round, man. Talk about a money shot, right? I was trying to think what better or just more gratifying shots, or I guess areas that you could land an elbow, right? If you're thinking about it, I guess the temple or maybe the jaw, but for that kind of strike to get it right there on the eye to swell it up. Honestly, I was thinking, I hope he's not going to lose his freaking eye. That was really scary, man. That thing ballooned up like no other. Did Rongzu freaking blow his nose or something? Did he break the cardinal sin? I don't know, but if that was just off the sheer damage, my goodness, that thing, whoa. We might have a new Blades. And shout out the MMAnomaly store. Go check out some new merch there now. Let's go, baby. But yeah, man, sheesh, wee-wees to that cut, or to that swollen eye.
Wee-wees.
The taco, man. I don't have anyone top of mind for the up-and-coming lightweight here, Chris Padilla, Taco. But it's Taco Tuesday. I might go warm up some tacos. No. But I'm excited to see him get back out there, man. I don't have a name again. But get back out there ASAP. He's talented. Definitely someone I'll be keeping an eye on. And he's repping Cali. Gardenia, stand up, as he said. We on the mat.
Stand up. That's a fact, baby. That's a fact. I don't necessarily have a ton of names on the tip of my tongue when it comes to the young man. But I will tell you, there's just a heavy list of people that he could fight that would be very fun fights, like a Drew Dober, a Matt the Steamroller Favola. I think both of those would just be strikers' delights. And the way that Chris was moving in and out, the whole Matador movement, he looked nice. The swagger that he showcased, it was doing it for me, man. It made me a fan. Yeah, I love watching striking displays, and if you can add a little bit of finesse, a little bit of swagger there, we'll get into it, man. We'll get into it. So, moving into the next fight, folks. This was one that I was very excited about, and I'm gonna have to pour up a shot for. So let's just go ahead and I'll read my notes and then I'll pour the shot. We had Trevor Peek versus Yanel Ashmouz. Peek, this is what I typed down during the fight here live. So and I probably should have proofread this to make sure that there's nothing stupid in here, but here we go. Peek genuinely looks like he fights so angry and tensed up. Ashmouz is the total opposite. Relaxed, fluid, and just calm. As a result, he hits a perfectly timed takedown on a forward-moving Peek. After coming forward and landing the harder shots, Peek proves to be his own worst enemy, giving up an easy takedown and an even easier 2.5 minutes of control time to his opponent, Yanel Ashmouz. Yanel Ashmouz has great head movement. Trevor Peek has zero head movement. However, when Peek is the one aggressing and making Yanel be defensive, he is still the one landing more, even with zero head movement. Seems to be making the proper reads in round 2 and finding the head of Ashmouz a lot easier. However, due to the overly greedy headhunting of Peek, Ashmouz lands yet another easy takedown with just under 3 minutes to work from top position here. Peek is doing the right things here for the most part, trying to create space, trying to use the fence to walk his back to his feet, but Ashmouz just simply seems to be a step ahead of him here in the grappling. and the same way that Peak seems to be a step ahead in the strength factor. As Moose ends the round with a beautiful suplex to end with a barrage on Trevor Peak in top position. This fight felt like a great learning experience for Trevor Peak, and also for folks like me who enjoy betting on Trevor Peak. He's definitely talented, gritty, and strong in the same ways that Nate the Train Landwehr is. And he's entertaining in the same ways. But he is less skilled than a pure skill set and has massive gaps in the grappling and overall fight IQ realm of the game. Great win for Yanelash Moose, who we will definitely be watching very closely moving forward here at the MMA Show. Those are the notes I took down, and I don't really think I have anything else to add. I think I did a pretty decent job typing those out.
That was badass, dude. I think we might need to start leaning with that. I don't think I have anything else to say for the rest of the show. I think you just narrate it, take it out, maybe drop it down a tone, go into a little Morgan Freeman-esque, or in honor of Darth Vader, R.I.P.
When Trevor Peak took a step forward, it was at that moment he realized he fucked up.
There we go. We got the narrator, baby. No, that was fantastic, my brother. I mean, I'll just add a couple cents here. Again, I mean, I was leaning you now, but we don't let our buddies drink alone, even though I try to tell you, get off that ledge, get off that mountain peak, because Trevor Peak ain't going to win. He might have peaked a little early. But it's good, man. I mean, he's talented. He's shot 18 times. That's absolutely badass. But he's a red fox. He's a slippery little sneaky guy. He's very cool, calm, collected, methodical. No wasted movement in his game whatsoever, and he just looks the part. He looks strong. He looks mean with the big beard and shaved head. It's very very scary. I mean, for lack of a better word. I'm excited to see what's next for him. I do think someone like a Drakkar Klose, someone that's close to the top 15, but not all the way there yet. On a 4-fight win streak.
Nice pun.
A notable name. It was a layup. Never miss those. But anyone in that range, I think, would be a good next opponent for a Yanal, who, again, showed that he can stay disciplined, can strike with the best of them, can grapple, can use a well-rounded game. Now it's take another step up in competition. So I think somewhere in that range, Drakkar Klose, someone that is notable. I've seen fight that has some good moments. Always fun on the mic. Always fun in fight build-up. I'm sure he'll answer the call if you give him a ring. So that's who I got. I don't know if you have anyone or if we should just do the shot and keep it moving, but
we're just gonna count this shot. We're just gonna count this shot towards the next one because we were gonna pour one up for that one for sure.
Well,
so
it'll count for both.
Just count this shot for
representative.
Both.
There we go.
It's representative for both. This one's for Matt Schnell, folks. Let me change the music up a little bit for this one. I feel like it's appropriate. We're not gonna do the sad music because I don't feel like that'd be a Matt Schnell thing.
Oh, this is fire. Oh, this is fire.
Little Rising Sun remix there. Cheers to Matt Schnell on a hell of a career. Even the fights he didn't win, we did, because he was always entertaining as fuck. Cheers to you.
To be in here for a good time, but not a long time. Thank you, Schnelly. Legend.
Absolute fucking legend. I've actually been watching Matt Schnell since the MTV Caged days.
Oh, geez.
Long before he made it to UFC. They did a reality show where the winner would win a MMA contract. Not a UFC contract, an MMA contract. I think it was like LFA or something like that. And fun fact, Andrea KGB Lee's racist boyfriend, who also made it to the UFC years later, I'm not even going to say his name. But yeah, that guy. Actually, I'll say his name so you guys can look him up if you want to. Tony Kelly. He actually won the series because he looked cool and had a mohawk. But Matt Schnell, during filming, his coach got arrested for murder. He had to take over the gym at 18 years old and start teaching everybody while competing on this show and having 2 or 3 pro fights. His mom was in and out of the hospital throughout the whole filming of the show. Like, it was wild. The kid has not had an easy run at any part of his life. But he made it to the UFC, and again, like, same there. Makes it to the UFC, doesn't get any easier for him. He takes the fights that nobody wants to take. He fought Mateus Nicolau when nobody the fuck wanted to fight Mateus Nicolau, right? he fought the people that literally nobody wanted to sign the dotted lines to fight. He just simply always said yes. He fought Brandon Royval on short notice. He fought Mateus Nicolau. He fought fucking Steve Erceg. And when Steve Erceg beat him, he got a goddamn title shot off of it. Like, he fought Alexandre Pantoja. After that, Alexandre Pantoja got a title shot. Matt Schnell became the litmus test to get a title shot in the division for some time. Because if you could beat him, I mean, you could probably stand and bang with anybody. He did a great job in round one. Let me just go to my notes here. So I actually didn't write a lot of notes in this one live because I was just locked the fuck in. And then I stopped writing notes after this fight because I was pretty upset. So here we go. As a big fan of Matt Schnell, I'm obviously nervous going into watching this fight. Schnell looks very great in the first round with a great slickness, looking like a young, crisp version that we saw entering the UFC. Head movement is on point. He's landing the bigger shots. He seems to be faster and stronger in here, but Cody is always game for a finish. He's very slick and very sneaky. Matt has to remain careful here. Going into round two, Schnell looks nice and shoots for a takedown very sloppily with far too much range between the two of them. Gives up his neck, tries to make adjustments, but Cody seems to be a step ahead and adjusts into a ninja choke. That's all she wrote, and that's a career. Those are my notes. Not very great ones. So look, I mean, looking at the stats, right? Like it was a nice first round in my opinion for Matt Schnell. I thought he looked really nice, really calm, really smooth on the feet. Outlanded his opponent 40-36. Outlanded his opponent on significant strikes 40-33. That's right, folks. Every single strike that landed for Matt Schnell, every single strike he threw was considered significant. That's how he fights. And then in round two, he landed 0 strikes. Shot for a takedown. I don't know why he shot for a takedown. Cody is a very good grappler. He literally has, like, I have a running joke that I've told Mary, I've told numerous people, I've told Drew, like, if you're ever thinking about getting into a fight, there are 2 things that you look for that tell you whether or not you should continue with this dumbass idea of getting into a fight in public. Okay? The 2 things, the 2 telltale signs that you don't want to do this are A, cauliflower ears. They have those. You don't want to do that. You want to walk away, maybe buy that guy a drink if he touched your girl's ass. Apologize to him. Okay?
Yeah, you run.
It's not going to go well for you. Okay? And then if the dude is wearing a tank top or you can see his back exposed, okay? If anywhere on his back, he's got the fucking USA and half of it is blue and half of it is red and there's a blanked out silhouette of a dude literally being fucking suplexed, walk away. Go home. Live through the night. Because that guy's a collegiate fucking wrestler. He got that tattoo with all his other collegiate wrestler buddies who all have the same fucking tattoo that you also don't want to fight. And more so, you don't want to grapple with those guys because, again, they are collegiate wrestlers. Cody Durden has that tattoo. And he has cauliflower ears. He's got both the things to tell you don't want to fucking grapple with him. At best, if you are already fighting this guy, professionally or unprofessionally, you want to box him. You want to maybe kick him and keep him at bay. You don't want to shoot in for takedowns. And you don't want to shoot in from 85 feet away across the whole fucking octagon or across the whole of Las Vegas. It was frustrating to watch him shoot from so far away, man. He was not in range at all for that takedown. And it was a fight that he was winning and could have kept winning and probably just coasted into the decision or got a finish. He rocked him twice in that first round, I think. Nano, what were your thoughts, man?
Yeah, brother. I mean, you painted the picture perfectly. I think my thoughts going into it was a lot of hope. Was thinking, hey, can Matt Schnell turn back the clock a little bit due to Cody Durden taking this fight on short notice, 4 days to be exact. Can that be a true hindrance? I mean, it can't be a benefit, right? So my thought was, okay, maybe this is kind of a perfect, hosh posh scenario that maybe Matt Schnell can actually get a W. Maybe there is a scenario here. The board is set, but he just wasn't able to execute. I think, like you mentioned, that first round, there were some glimmers of hope. He looked good at times, but just really wasn't able to show any effectiveness with the punches. The takedowns, not effective. And then Cody, kind of adjusted, settled into that second round, didn't need much time, got straight to business, and, the rest was history. Cody's legit. I think he's someone that I for whatever reason, start to just write off, and I giggle because I thought of your analogy there with the tat and just everything about him. You look at him, it's like, this little guy, no, he'll piece you up. Like he's the guy you don't want to mess with, and he probably does have a good looking girlfriend. You probably are talking to her at the bar. I mean, I know how things go. I was young once and single, but I know my boundaries. Okay, I think I would have seen his traps or seen that look.
Come on,
like, crazy. I'm gonna go ahead and walk away. I'm gonna run away. Actually, you see it over there, and then I'm gone, go in the other direction. He'll bait and switch. But no, man. All jokes aside, it was a great career for Matt. I want to give him his flowers, and I think in true fashion, we'll drink to him and we'll celebrate all the fun times, all the violent times he had in there. One of the best mean mugs, I think, to this day. And hopefully we see him around. And when we do, I'll bring the beers. And for Cody,
The beers.
I'll bring the beers. For Cody, chiwiwi. I mean, he did call up Manel Kopp, so I do think you got to give him that. He took the bout on 4 days' notice. Reward the bandana. Give him
I don't care if this gets me shot or shunned. He beats Kopp.
Ooh,
he beats.
He's got
Kopp.
the skills for it. He's got the skills for it.
I bet money on him to beat Kopp.
Ooh. Well, let's hope we do that, and you can make some money because he'd probably be the underdog.
He would definitely.
I like it.
We'd get him at dog odds. We would definitely get him at dog odds. Speaking of people we're getting at dog odds, I can't fucking wait for UFC No J betting. There are some people that we should not be getting at dog odds that we are.
Oh, bro.
We probably got to lock some of those in right after we wrap up tonight, to be honest, before they change. I feel like there's going to be some line shifts.
It's going to be changing a little bit. Going to be some
Gotta
lot of money.
We got to hold the line, man. Yeah, man, this was a tough one for Matt Schnell for sure. Cody Durden looked fantastic out there, and because it was a short notice fight, because it was originally supposed to be contested at flyweight, this technically was a ranked fight. So there were numbers next to their names, which means that Cody Durden will definitely be ranked in the top 15. Good for him. Good for him. Especially with Matt Schnell retiring, he doesn't need the number. So good for Cody on leveling up in every single way. He even said that he was eating dinner when he got the call, and that he may or may not have drank way too much on Saturday and been hungover when he got the call to fight Matt Schnell. So good on him for being hungover and then getting in the gym and fucking doing that 4 days later. Just fantastic stuff from him from start to finish. I look forward to seeing what's next for him. This was a fight that I didn't really want to like. I wasn't thrilled to watch because I really do like both guys. I think Cody's a stellar fighter, and I've just always been a Matt Schnell fan. So tough to see him go, but happy to watch him leave and hope that whatever the next chapter is, it's the best one yet for him. Hopefully he starts training the future fighters to come from Shreveport, Louisiana. Moving into the next one, we have Steve Garcia coming in against Kyle, the Monster Nelson. I mean, I want to play something angry and just aggressive for this fight, but I mean, what it made me feel is more like, it's fantastic. Just thrilling, happy violence. That song is actually what plays in my mind when I watch a Steve Garcia fight because I'm just so happy and I really do like saxophone. So Steve Garcia is one of these guys that is just kind of like Matt Schnell. Win, lose, or draw, you know that as a fight fan, you're gonna win on that given night during that given fight. The dude is just a fucking beast. So fun to watch. And you can complain about back of the head shots. You can say you had a lump on the back of your head. With all due respect, you were getting punched in the front of the face so hard the back of your head was bouncing off the canvas at times. I don't think that this should be contested at all. I do know that Cal Nelson tried to like post some stuff on social media afterwards. Just take the fact that it was like a fairly close contested fight until it wasn't, right? Like you both landed 31 strikes. The difference is one guy landed one significant strike and one guy landed 22. For those of you that are bad at math, that is a 22 times spread. That's ridiculous. Like, that's insane. There's just no way around it. And that's why Steve Garcia got the TKO in round number 1, not even 4 whole minutes into this fight. I mean, this is what I saw fighting. This is what I saw happening, right? Like, Steve Garcia is violence personified. He's everything a lot of these fighters wish to be. And I mean, he just goes out there and does it every time. I will say, I believe he missed weight by like a pound or 2. That sucks. Hate to see a fighter miss weight. It's hard to cheer for a fighter when they miss weight, but it's Garcia. I mean, I'm always going to cheer for this guy. No. What were your thoughts on this fight? Did anything surprise you, or was it just another Steve Garcia fight?
Man, no, I mean, I'm at a loss of words a little bit now, and it represents how I felt, man. I mean, that guy's an absolute beast. We did know, and we talked about his aggression, right? I mean, he goes in there, and he's acting like it's a schoolyard brawl. Like, you were talking crap about him in first period, and it got back to him in second, and the teacher found out in third, and then now you're squabbling it in between fourth and fifth. Like, it was some background bullshit, man. I love what I saw from my boy Steve Garcia. Extremely, extremely violent, but highly skilled as well, right? Like, it's not like he's just going out there like Trevor Peake is and just throwing caution to the wind. It's all methodical, and the elbows, right? Like, the choice to go to that route, perfect choice. The elbow on the back of the head, you saw the knot right away. I mean, that is unfortunate. Again, I'm glad that the commentators were mentioning, hey, like, he's rolling around, he's moving. And I'm sure if you were to rewatch it as a judge or as the people making these decisions, if you see him starting that movement before Kyle, was rolling, or maybe he started here and and Kyle, went to duck down. Now that initial shot that was aiming for the head when he started it is now hitting him on the back of the neck as he's rolling out of it. It's like, you got to factor those things in. And again, like you mentioned, that wasn't the last shot. It'd be different. Maybe that was it. It's game over. He recovered. He kind of got back to his wits. And then there's even more elbows, even more violence, more dominance from our boy Steve Garcia. And man, just overall, I mean, what an emotional performance. What an emotional fighter. And what a way to just say, like, hey, I'm a dude, right? I mean, if you weren't already a fan, or if you weren't already impressed by his skills, like, how can you not be now, right? Like, make yourself undeniable. That's what Steve Garcia is doing here, man. He's right in his prime. I'm trying to look at everyone here on the list in terms of what's next for him. I mean, dude, he's so gosh darn fun to watch. I mean, so just violent is all I think about, and I giggle because it's like, man, like, he looks like he has a bone to pick with everyone that he's up against in there. I don't know if you have a name top of mind, but assuming, like we talked about leading into this, I think he's ready for a top 15er at this point. I think those kind of finishes are something to say. Maybe a Bosa, maybe a 50K Ige. Bosa, excuse me. Barbosa, Edson Barbosa. Bosa. I'm thinking 49ers Monday Night Football, but no, Edson Barbosa there at 15, I think would be fantastic to see. Or even a damn 50K Ige at 14. Little Steve Garcia. That is some violence. That is 2 violent individuals going in there. I think I might have talked myself into 50K Ige. What are your thoughts, brother? I
mean, I'm happy with 50K Ige. I'm happy with 50K Ige, but as a good friend, if we're looking at the dessert menu and you say, hey, they have tres leches cake, I'm going to be like, hey, they also have tiramisu that's pretty damn good here. So maybe we should look at both these options, right? So I love a good tres leches cake in honor of UFC Noche, but they do have tiramisu on the menu, and the tiramisu I'm looking at is Giga Chikadze. I also think that'd be a pretty fucking violent fight. Giga Chikadze, Steve Garcia. I mean, that's fun. That's fun. I also don't think he has anything.
I like it a lot, man.
I don't think he has a matchup right now. He's just coming off that loss to Arnold Allen.
Yeah, so he's trying to get that taste out of his mouth.
Get back.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be a fun one.
It'd be a fun fight.
Yeah. And
what happened? Does Steve Garcia move forward if he eats a Giga kick?
Dude, he might just close distance and get in there.
It's all right. That's fine. Let's go.
My turn.
That's fine. Let's keep going. He's nasty.
You show me your best shot. Let me show you mine. Not be a fun man. Come on, baby.
I like it. I like either of those, man. I like 50K Ige a lot too. I definitely like 50K Ige a lot in that one.
It's gotta be someone ranked. I think that's the.
It's gotta be someone ranked. I think. Yeah, I was gonna say. I think we're on the same page. It's gotta be someone top 15. Speaking of top 15, speaking of ranked, speaking of someone who deserves their fucking chance to shine. Holy smokes! Natalia Silva coming in against Jessica Andrade. Man. Were you on Andrade?
As always, as a fan, but I think I prefaced it with, "Hey, I'm biased.
I won't let you do a shot by yourself."
I will always do one. I will always do one for my girl JA for Mrs. Andrade. But no, I mean, I figured Natalia was going to go in there and win. If I'm being honest, I stayed away from it from a bettor's perspective. Yeah, like I knew I was biased. I knew I was betting with my Celine Dion. My heart will go on because Jessica Andrade and her fighting career will go on. Okay,
classic.
Yeah, it's classic. That's what we got here with JA. She's a beast.
Yeah.
I'll always root for her. But yeah, it just wasn't her night. And Natalia Silva, and it's unfortunate too. Like it's one of those things where maybe you could hang your hat on, hey, she was the faster fighter. You weren't able to get your shots off. Like just weren't able to land your mark. You got injured. Like bummer. It's like no, you went in there and you hit her about as hard as you can hit a woman willingly. Or at least with
there
without
are
it being
pictures
power
online
slap.
of Natalia Silva's face being a different shape, and she still just was like, "Okay, cool. That was a really, really great overhand right. Now I am going to throw a side kick, even though you're 5 centimeters away from me. Oh, and it's going to be to your face."
Yeah. So I think that was my big takeaway, or other shock, aside from just thinking, hey, if Jessica Andrade's going to get some shots off, it's over. No. Natalia ate those shots and really acted like they were nothing. I mean, I'm all about a good poker face.
And just throw a 1, 2, 3.
Sorry, cool. Right, didn't even break stride. It's cool. I'm gonna go ahead and do my thing. And I don't know if it's like that karate style or Muay Thai. Like when you come from that background, you're kind of used to
Taekwondo.
Taekwondo.
She's just Taekwondo. And so what's weird is Taekwondo fighters are typically point fighters.
Right.
They don't usually have that grit to take those shots like that and move in. That's a Muay Thai thing. Muay Thai is like, I'll eat your shot and then I'll throw mine and then you won't want to continue fighting me the way you're poking.
And then the first one to quit. Yeah.
Exactly. That's why Muay Thai for fun, we've done the Muay Thai forearm conditioning drill where you're just hitting your forearms together. That's what Thai fighters do for fun. So that's why they fight like that. For fun, let's hit our forearms, bones and flesh until one of us quits and gives up.
Oh yeah.
So when they're in a fight, they're like, okay, let's just hit our bones and flesh till one of us gives up. So it's weird. She has a Taekwondo style, but she fights with a Muay Thai mentality. It's so cool.
She's a beast. Yeah. I mean, she weathered the storm. She looked durable. She was getting better as time went on. She kept her speed. All things considered, she's the truth. I think her defense obviously needs to get better, but a part of that is, hey, over a fight, over 15 minutes, you're going to get hit. Those things happen, but you want to see maybe a little bit more, I would say cautiousness, I guess that is a word. When you're throwing those strikes and you're doing everything, you got to find a way to either change angles or move or put a hand up, like something. You got to build that into your combinations because you can't keep getting hit like that. I mean, Jessica is one of the heavier power punchers, but as it goes up and those girls aren't going to fade and they're going to be probably a little bit faster and move more than Jessica did, that's not going to fly. So I think it was a great outing from Natalia. I do think there's some good lessons, right? There's some tape you can definitely go back on and say, hey, we're in a good spot, excited to tackle these with you, but you're on your way to being a champ potentially here. So all is well for Natalia. I don't know. Do you have a name? I'm looking here. I mean, it boils down to health. It gets really too slim pickings once you get closer and closer to the top. Man, I don't know. Now that I'm looking, I'm like, I don't know. Maybe not actually.
I got names.
Talk to me, baby. Talk to me now.
All right, baby. So
I'm stalling.
First and foremost, I hope you have your shot poured up before I break this stat to you, because it's not a fun one. It's not a fun one. I actually had to make sure my math checked out here. So cheers to your girl Jessica Andrade. And if you drink, do a shot with us. If you don't, do a shot of water, do a shot of Gatorade, do a shot of what you do. Do a shot of life. Okay.
Stay hydrated. Thank y'all.
Well, cheers to you, and thanks for hanging out with us.
You could be anywhere, but you're here now. So we can go take advantage now.
You could be anywhere.
You're not alone.
Chose to be right here. So look, this is a wild stat. Okay. 260% more strikes here. Just insane. Just insane. Oh, that's actually the main event stat that I pulled up. Just kidding. So the stat for this is not quite as bad, but it's still not great. Closer to 85% differential. So she almost landed a 2-to-1 clip here on your girl Jessica Andrade. We're talking 62 to 119 total strikes. And if we look at significant strikes, the story just gets worse. It was 50 to 117. So more than double, more than 2-to-1, more than 100% more strikes landed, total strikes, significant strikes, etc. Cool thing is both these ladies were not able to land a single takedown on each other. That's pretty cool. Both tried one time, both negated one time. They were like, all right, fuck this. Let's just strike. So they did that. And it was fantastic for us fans. A lot of this, a lot of this and some laser beams. Those laser beams, of course, are meant to represent the kicks of Natalia Silver. So look, she was an absolute beast out there. Again, I think the most notable thing that really stood out to me about Natalia Silva's arsenal is her kicks. It always is. The quick twitchy kicks that she had in her last fight were not as present in this fight, but she didn't waste any energy because she wasn't doing all the bouncy taekwondo bouncing, point fighting, kind of stance switching. But what she was doing is constantly moving back out of range of Jessica Andrade and landing the big strikes. I was expecting Andrade to land more significant strikes, but for Natalia Silva just to take it away on points. But Natalia Silva showed me that she can probably bang with the best of them. And honestly, you might not like this, but I say you give her the loser of Valentina Shevchenko versus Alexa Grasso.
Whoa. That is jumping the line, is it not?
She's sitting at number 6 right now. She already moved up 2 slots today, brother. And I mean, if you look at the congestion at the top, Rose Namajunas is not fighting for a title anytime soon with her last couple performances. Let's just call a spade here. And she's definitely not leapfrogging Manon Fior, who is obviously next.
Well, Aaron, yeah, because Aaron and Thug Rose are fighting, so 6 and 7 down.
Yeah, so like Manon Fior is the next logical person to fight for the title. And she just beat Erin Blanchfield.
Oh, shit.
So who the fuck else is there? Macy Barber's coming off of a health scare.
Yan Xiaonan, that'd be crazy. Crazy striking right there. She also beat Andrade.
Fight Yan Xiaonan. I would be happy to fight her to watch her fight Yan Xiaonan.
Ooh, but yeah,
that's the wrong weight class. She's a flyweight.
Oh. Wait.
You're looking at strawweight, brother.
Oh, I was looking at pound for pound. Yeah, I'm tripping.
Oh.
No wonder why, because I was like, why is Natalia ranked so low? And then I'm looking at all these. I'm like, oh, yeah, Doug Rose, Aaron. Oh, okay, yeah. You got me.
She's number 14 on the women's pound for pound now. Like, she's number 6 in the women's flyweight.
Yeah.
So, like, Erin Blanchfield just got beat by Manon. Macy Barber's coming off a health scare, number 4. Rose Namajunas is not fighting anytime soon for a title. Natalia's next.
Yeah,
I'm not saying put her in the title shot, but like give her the loser. If she beats
that is a good
person,
point.
Title
That's a good point. Yeah.
Because who the fuck, if Valentina loses a 3rd time, who the fuck do you put her against?
And what about Macy? Is the future now?
Could be. I mean, I love Macy Barber. I've met her twice. She's fantastic. Very nice young lady. I would love to see that fight. Macy Barber versus Natalia Silva. Title eliminator. And again, Manon gets it next. I think everybody can agree on that. If you don't agree on that, then I mean, fucking fight me.
Or she will, and she'll beat you up.
Manon definitely deserves that title shot next, folks. It's just a fact. So yeah, give Natalia Silva a little title eliminator, and for Jessica Andrade, I mean, it might be time to hang him up or get a new nutritionist and go back down to the lower weight class of strawweight, because I mean, if we've seen anything, it's that the power doesn't transfer for her up at this higher weight class the way that it does for some other people, or at least not anymore.
Yeah.
Do you agree or disagree there?
100% agree. Yeah, that's the cool thing with Jessica. She can kind of play in between both lines there, and whether it's, hey, I want to try to make another title shot, in which case maybe someone like a Verna's there, right? I'm trying to look if they've fought in the past. I feel like they might have. Verna's fought everyone. So is Jessica.
I was going to say, I feel like both of those ladies have fought like everybody.
They've fought everyone. They've probably fought each other, but maybe that's one of those that you run back, or you get on the docket and say, hey, this is another contender eliminator like we're talking about. Or you just look at, I don't know, like someone like a Thug Rose. Like, I mean, just anyone that's just an older veteran that makes sense, right? If she's not going to continue to try to make a title run, I mean, that's where I think my head's at personally. You know, like an Angela, even, I guess. Yeah, like Angela Hill, like someone like that, where it's like, you know, two old savvy vets, that kind of makes sense, I think. I don't like seeing the aging OGs keep fighting these young up and coming dogs. It just, I mean, I understand it, but at the same time, it's kind of like, well, do you have to? So that's where I'm at. It's like, hey, are you making another title run? If not, then maybe just go get some money, just go fight a top talent, and maybe one or two more. But yeah, she doesn't owe us anything. She's been an absolute great previous champion, Jessica Andrade. She could do whatever she wants. That's when the drags are bone behind me. But yeah, bro, that's
shout out Luna, the official dog of the MMAnomaly Show, No Filter podcast.
Straight underdog.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think it might be time for her to hang him up if she can't get back down to that lower weight class, because in flyweight, it's going to be slim pickings for her. And talking about retiring and hanging out the gloves, I never like to be that guy that points the finger and says that kind of thing. But without further ado,
it's time!
Yes, it is, Broof. It's time for us to talk about Gilbert Burns versus Sean Brady, folks. A fight that had a 76 to 274 total strikes landed differential, or rather total strikes landed. The differential there is 260.5%. That is almost a 3 times clip. What the fuck? And if you look at significant strikes, it doesn't get much better, right? Under 50 compared to 130. You look at takedowns, again, more of the same, 1 to 7. I think, like the thing that used to really separate Gilbert Burns from a lot of these other fighters in the weight class is that he was faster than them. And again, I think that happened because he came up a weight class, right? The power transferred with him too, which is something that didn't really happen as much for Jessica Andrade. But it did happen for him. He's a bit of an anomaly. He's a bit of a mutant. But it didn't seem to be there anymore. And I will tell you, like, if you've paid attention to boxing, if you've watched a Rocky movie as well, they've said it in that movie or those movies a handful of times. The first thing to go is speed, right? Last thing to go is power. I didn't see speed or power on Saturday from Gilbert Burns. He did hit Sean really hard a couple times, made Sean do the pee-pee dance a couple times, right? Like knees went weak a little bit, arms were heavy, mom spaghetti. But just too little too late. It was a situation of Gilbert Burns waiting, eating 2 to 3 shot combos, and then seeing an opening and landing a big shot. And it's like, if you're letting the homie land like 1 to 3 shots for every one you're landing, that's how you end up with a 260% differential between your strikes and his strikes. And that's exactly what happened to Gilbert Burns. He left too much on the table and really was hoping for the Hail Mary. We've seen it going back to fantasy football and football in general, where, you know, you maybe put a lot of upside in one player, and because of that, you sacrifice some of those other picks that you really should have invested in earlier on. And then that one player, Christian McCaffrey, gets fucking injured. And then what the fuck are you gonna do, kid? You know, it happens. It happens. What can he do? What can you do? He's on Madden. I tried to warn you people. I mean, he's literally on the cover of Madden. It happens every year. It's not even just Madden. It's EA. Like, what happened to John Jones? He's fought, what, one time since he's been on the EA cover? Twice?
Adesanya, Jorge. Not good.
For those guys. I mean,
not good. Valentina, Volk.
Connor.
Not good.
Not good. The list goes on. I digress. Just not great. Gilbert Burns is one of these guys that is sadly, like a lot of our favorites of the sport these days, they're simply aging out, and we get to watch it happen. It sucks to see, but a lot of the legends that we've loved to watch for years and years are simply getting older than the sport. And while they're aging, there's young, hungry kids, younger than you and I, that have been training longer than we can even imagine, that are coming for all the things that these grown men have been working for and fighting for. And I digress. That's what Sean Brady just did. He came out here, racked up a win. And if you close your eyes and listen to the TV, it sounds like you just watched an Eddie Alvarez fight. Because they have the same exact voice and accent and mannerisms and speech. It's crazy. But again, Sean Brady went out there and did exactly what he needed to do. 7 of 17 takedowns. You love to fucking see it. 130 significant strikes out of 274 strikes landed. 368 strikes thrown. The guy threw almost 400 strikes. His opponent barely threw over 100. So, volume wins fights. If I can do 4 times what you can do, it doesn't even matter if I can do it better than you. I'm going to beat you. Even if you're better than me, if I can work 4 times harder than you, I'm going to beat you. Because I will outwork your talent. I will outwork your skill. And I will outwork your want and will. So, I didn't even mean to rhyme. That just kind of happened. But I digress. Sean Brady looked fucking fantastic out there. I'm just rambling at this point. I'm going to jump off the soapbox. Nano, what you got, brother?
My man. Love it, brother. Appreciate you. I was going to do basically the same thing you did there. So I'll try to save you a little bit, but just add additional context and just say that, yeah, man, I think Sean Brady trending the right direction, doing all the right things. He's a stud, right? His only loss is to the current champion, Bilal Muhammad. So we really don't know how good or bad Sean Brady is, right? Because other than that, before that, we were thinking, is he the next champ? Bilal beats somewhere like, oh shit, maybe not. But now Bilal's champ, so it's like, oh shit, who is he, right? How good can he possibly be? And this was that fight. This was the fight of his career where it's like you go back, you turn on the tape, you say, look what I did to the Gilbert Burns. Yeah, he's a little bit older. Yeah, he's on the back nine. And even the way Gilbert was talking going into it was kind of not irritating me, but it didn't give me a lot of confidence when I'm reading reports or hearing him talk about how he wants to prove people wrong and how he wants to prove he still got it and talking about these young guys. I don't want to hear my fighter acknowledging that, he's the old man in the room. I know, these things are the case, but I think it just felt like to me, and then I see him taking his gloves off after the fight. And then even in terms of just the maybe game plan, maybe he wanted to start off slow and then maybe crank it up those last 3 rounds. That the third round was where he had his most success, but he was still just completely outnumbered, outmatched by his opponent. Sean Brady was able to take all the shots that Gilbert had for him. He had the takedown defense, so even if Gilbert wanted to try to nullify him there, I mean, Sean is huge. Like his back, his muscles. I mean, it's like trying to take down a freaking gorilla. He's just so gosh darn thick. It's crazy. All things considered, like I realized pretty quickly there that Sean Brady he's good. He's as good as it gets, and Gilbert unfortunately is trending the wrong direction. He wants to try to make another title run, but honestly, my brother, it's like you've done it all. I mean, what's left? to prove, not much to me. I think he's going to be a legend in my book always. Got to meet him, had a good exchange, very genuine person, and just like felt the connection when I talked to him. Like felt like you kind of get the human from him too. So it's like, man, I'm rooting for him. Want to see him do well, but like, I mean, the Michael Moraleses of the world that are now ranked up here. Like, do you want to stick around and beat these guys? The Ian Machado Garys, I know it doesn't get a lot of love, but it's like, are those the guys? I mean, you just saw a Sean Brady that's about as good as it gets as this new class of mixed martial arts fucking beasts. These new UFC caliber, man. The bar set pretty gosh darn high, right? It's like that event in track, the high jump. Once you get past your local circuit, you go to the state. That bar literally raises, and now what your PR is now just the standard at these Olympic levels, and that's kind of what we're at with the UFC and what we're talking about here to make it similar. I don't really want to see Gilbert fight anyone. I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't mind if it's just, I'm gonna call it just a money matchup, like where it's just like a
Jorge Masvidal fight or something like that.
Yeah, honestly, I was gonna say if Jorge comes back, but I didn't want to say it because like I know he's not there. I don't want to like go down a what if fairy tale, but yeah, like Jorge, good example.
Jorge said he wants to come back. He was on MMA Fighting. I forget who he talked to last week, but he said he has something in the works.
Dustin, and honestly, like Dustin talked about fighting Colby. Like I would love to see that, but honestly, like seeing Dustin and Gilbert fight, like just two legends going at it. Like I just love to see two guys scrap. Maybe it's at a catch weight. Maybe Gilbert's like, hey, let's be the first ones to try to debut this 165-pound division.
I'm picking up what you're putting down, brother.
But if not, if it's under those, then yeah, I mean, then you have to be ready to answer the call when a Joaquin Buckley or a Michael Venom Page, which hey, that could be fun too. But it might just boil down to scenarios for Gilbert, who beat who's next on deck. But I'll pay to watch Gilbert fight any day of the week. Twice on Saturday, and I'd even watch him do a grappling match. Maybe he goes into the jiu-jitsu world and dominates there. I'd watch him go take that sport up as well.
I'd love to watch him retire from the sport of MMA and just do a couple of the like UFC quartet fights or whatever, or quintet fights where it's like the 4-man team, like UFC versus LFA versus Strikeforce versus Pride. And everybody just like chooses their teams. Like that'd be sick. I'd love to see him compete on those teams, do some grappling events. Yeah, I think that would be probably the best case scenario route for him. I'd like to see him hang up the gloves. Like you said, like the Michael Moraleses of the world, I don't think there's a reason for us to watch him fight. Even like a Randy Rude Boy Brown. I don't want to see him fight a Randy Rude Boy Brown. Like, I think that'd be a compelling fight. I think it'd be a closely contested fight, but I would probably take Rude Boy in that fight. I think Rude Boy would have the tools to get it done. And I also don't think that fighting a Rude Boy at this point in Gilbert Burns' career does a whole lot for him from a career standpoint. So
yeah,
why take the risk? Why take the damage? And literally just, like why take the damage, man?
Yeah, I mean the only caveat with Gilbert is that if his title run it's 1 or 2 wins away, right? I mean he can in a perfect world get the right matchup, whether it's a Kamaru or a Leon or I don't know if we'll get the Shavkat or JDM or a Colby, but you lost to Sean. That was kind of that next class. He is now obviously next in line, let's call it, when it comes to that title contender. So yeah, it's tough.
So the real question is, I mean, we could talk about Gilbert all day, but what's next for the winner here? Sean Brady, because I do have a name on the tip of my tongue who doesn't have a match.
Oh shit, and that's what I was saying. I mean, honestly, I think. Well, there's so much circulation going around. Well, and I guess without looking at the rumor mill, right, and getting out of the rumor mill here, because I don't know who's fighting who yet in this top 5. And with Sean Brady as of now at 6, who do I want to personally see him fight? Damn, to be honest, like I wouldn't mind just seeing him go all the way up to the top and do either a Leon or a Kamaru. I do like Shavkat or JDM, but to be honest, I think Shavkat can probably fight Bilal next, to be honest.
I think it should be Shavkat versus Bilal, and then I think it should be JDM versus Sean Brady as a title contender fight.
Ooh. And what are you doing, Leon and Kamaru?
Winner gets winner.
Are we just bypassing them, or are we?
We're bypassing Kamaru for now. I think Kamaru deserves kind of a legends fight. Or honestly, you do Kamaru versus Leon, not for the belt.
What would that be for? I mean, we cut with, yeah.
But we've seen it so many times. Like, you don't have to do that, right? Like, you could also do Kamaru Usman versus Ian Machado Gary.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where it boils down to who timing or who says yes to who, right? Because if Sean says yes to, or I guess we'll start with Sean, right? That's what we're talking about now. But if he gets the call and it's, hey, Leon, Kamaru, maybe Bilal, maybe they get the champ, maybe there's a storyline there. He lost to him.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did a Sean rematch.
It can happen. I think I could see people being upset, right? You have Shavkat there. It's like,
I mean, I would be one of those people.
Right. So that's where I guess. Oof. Yeah, I guess it would be JDM then, huh? And I'm kind of going off elimination, right? Because it's like, okay, if you're Sean, they call it, hey, JDM, winner gets champ next. Whether it's Shavkat over Bilal or just straight up, cool. Or maybe it's like, hey, Bilal wants some time off. 5 Shavkat winner gets Bilal at the end of the year. We build it up. This is the plan. Then maybe Sean's like, all right, fuck it, let's run it. I wouldn't mind seeing Sean Brady against any of these cats. That's the fun part of this division. This division is fun, man. A lot of implications, a lot of shuffling, and a lot of unknowns, man. I'm excited to see what happens next, but I do think, personally, because we got to make decisions here on this show. I can't just keep throwing out names. I'm gonna book Sean Brady versus Leon Edwards.
I'm okay with that.
And then winner gets, and I'm saying that because I think Bilal and Shavkat will probably with the championship. I heard rumors of a JDM Usman. I'd love to see that. I think JDM needs to be one more person. Oh yeah,
it'd be very fun.
That'd be crazy. That's where I'd
almost rather see Usman versus Ian Gary.
Whoa.
I think that'd be a blast, and I think both guys would take it.
The build up is crazy.
The name recognition would be fun for both guys.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that
clears up all the
and he's the wild card, right? Machado Gary is a wild card.
He's literally the wild card in the top like 6.
Actually, and I think Sean did call him out too, right? He's like, I'll take that little punk or whatever. If not, he's like,
if
give
you
me
give
someone
Sean
ranked
him,
above me.
I'd love that. Like, if you have Sean versus Ian Gary would be fun. But I think Kamaru versus Ian Gary, Sean versus JDM, and then what should we call it? Like, I know you're talking about, like, as long as it lines up and as long as Bilal doesn't have to take time off. The only reason Bilal typically takes time off is because of, like, Muslim reasons. So for Ramadan doesn't start until March 10th, and it ends on April 9th, and then they have Eid Mubarak on April 11th. So he would be off from March 10th to April 11th effectively. But before then, he should be good to go. So I think, honestly, Madison Garden, MSG, end of the year card, probably easy to sell him on. Maybe like co-main event title fight or co-main event, because they typically try and do the triple stacker there for having 3 title fights on the line for that last, end of the year fight card. Already talks about having John Jones. Already talks about possibly having Conor McGregor. A lot of things up in the air. But again, I think for me, I'm landing on Jack Della Maddalena coming in against Sean Brady. Kamaru Usman against Ian Gary. Bilal against Shavkat. And then Leon ends up fighting the winner of the non-title contender fights.
I like it. Now that I'm reading more reports, Khabib talking about how Bilal earned the right to call his next fight, or, to kind of maybe say who he wants. That's where I think he might end up waiting. I think he might want to see. I don't know if he's just going to straight call out a Shavkat or Usman. He may say, hey, I want to see somebody step up. If that is the case, and then I guess because, Ramadan, everything, that's interesting, right? If you're him, do you wait almost a year to fight because you wait till after March, April?
That's the thing. I don't think he's going to want to wait till after that. I think he's going to want to get a fight in before and then take time off, heal up, and then by the time he's healed up, it's going to be Ramadan, so he's not going to want to fight, and then he'll fight after that. So I think he gets one more fight in like November, December, and then he takes time off, and then he comes back in like April. It gets 2 more fights in next year, maybe 3.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a short list. I mean, I think for Bilal, who's next, I think it's between Shavkat, JDM, now Sean Brady. And honestly, I guess Usman, if Usman wins before he fights, I guess I'll throw the asterisk because I don't want to overwhelm it, but he's obviously next champ, and I've heard Bilal talk about it.
Yeah.
So that's my only like inclination. It's like he would accept that call. But yeah, I'm gonna lean Shavkat. Probably gets the nod or deserves it first, and then that leaves us with then it's JDM and Sean, and I would take that all day too. That is a fire.
That's a fire fight because it's one of those fights where like if either guy gets past the other one, it's like okay, cool, that guy deserves the title shot. There's literally no argument for me, none.
Facts.
So
yeah, I can't wait.
We're here for it, folks.
That division's stacked, and it is buzzing right now, ladies and gents.
It is.
Let us know your thoughts. Let us know if we're wrong, how crazy we are. Which name? Is it JDM? Do you want to see SR, Shavkat? Do you want to see Lil Usman, Kamaru, the Nightmare? Let us know, man. What do you want to see
Let us
next?
know. Comment below. The algorithm loves it. After the live video wraps, please make sure you comment. If you're watching on Twitter, do us a favor. Comment on the YouTube. We'd fucking love you forever if you did that for us. I mean, we love you anyways. We appreciate all 71 of you guys watching us on Twitter right now. Super, super appreciate you all. And if you got time tomorrow, we'll be back here same time, same place to break down UFC Noche, a.k.a. UFC 306, a.k.a. UFC Sean O'Malley versus Merab Dvalishvili. That fight is going to be an absolute fucking banger of a fight card from top to bottom to top, start to finish, folks. So look, we are going to go ahead and call it a night, though. We have now covered top to bottom of these fights, and we do have another episode tomorrow, and then we have a fantasy draft that we have to do for UFC. It's kind of a new thing that we're starting up ourselves here. Let's go. So you know the deal, guys. Whether you're new, old, somewhere in between, do us a huge favor. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, smash that bell for notifications. After the live video wraps, go ahead and leave those post comments. Again, all hell the algorithm. That's why we do it. And again, why we do this show? For you folks. We really appreciate you all being here. It's a Tuesday night. You could have chosen to be anywhere, but you chose to be right freaking here. So we appreciate each and every one of you folks. And we really do hope that you enjoyed the show. And if you did, feel free to check out that merch store too. We just dropped a couple new pieces today. Got a really cool Tony Ferguson piece there. Blades and Shades, baby. Make sure you check it out. Got a cool little sticker. Also got a cool little shirt there. The link is in all my links here on the description, link in bio, all that stuff. So again, that's it, folks. We're going to wrap up for the night. One last thing that we like to leave you with every show, and that's this. Keep on going. Keep on growing, folks. We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. As you may have been able to tell, we dig the MMA, and our passion is to dive deep into the upcoming fights, give you our expert breakdowns, and help you make sense of all the chaos that is the fight game. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, make sure to find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at MMAnomaly. Be cool, and we'll see you next time.